Hey folks, welcome to this week's episode of Hunting Matters, brought to you by the Houston Safari Club Foundation. We are joined this week by my buddy Adam Montgomery. Adam, thank you so much for joining us.
Howdy, howdy. Thank you for having me.
So there's a lot I want to talk about with you today. We're going to cover all your deep, dark secrets and
Fun.
really dig into this. But first of all, I want to start kind of with, because the show's called Hunting Matters, I want to talk a little bit about your hunting background. Then we'll talk about what you do for a living and your involvement with the organization. So you and I have talked, several times before, and you'd mentioned to me that your grandfather was a huge influence in shaping who you are. What lessons that, we all have those people in our life that influence us, and that my mother's voice sticks in my head all the time, her sayings and her advice and things like that. She was a very wise woman, as I learned when I became an adult. But your grandfather was a big influence in your life. What are some of the things that he said to you and has taught you over the years that are kind of still your guiding forces?
Man, it's crazy to say it. So, unfortunately, I lost my hero because he was my hero back in 2021. But still to this day, I hear his voice every time I go up to shoot, because that was our thing. He was a Vietnam veteran, so he actually lost his hearing through the Agent Orange back with the Vietnam War. So he didn't have the ability to take me hunting because he couldn't hear anymore, but he had the ability to take me shooting. And that's what we did whenever I remember I was 5 years old, picking up a .22, and he would actually tie a pine cone to a string at a tree and swing it back and forth, and I'd have to aim and have to shoot it. So, but I remember hearing his voice, and still to this day I hear his voice, Adam, take a deep breath in, let half of it out, and squeeze the trigger. And every time I go up to shoot, it's like, okay, I have that flashback, and it's like a little bit of a mental reset. So aside from that, just life in general.
Right.
He was a great man. Man.
Do you 5 years old, there's not a lot of kids who get started that young. There are a lot that do. So what do you recall specifically about that experience? Was it just like, because I know when I was younger, I didn't hunt when I was a young kid. My mother introduced me to hunting. And similar situation, I didn't have a dad around that back then, and my mom introduced me to hunting, and she used to say to me all the time, I can remember when you were a kid, you'd be sitting in the back seat, and we'd drive by somewhere, and you go, that looks like a good place to hunt, or that looks like a good place to fish. Do you think that was part of your fiber early on?
Absolutely. I think it was just part of who I am. Yeah. It's part of my DNA, because growing up I never had video games, never owned a video game system, never played video games, just outside until it was dark, and if the street light comes on, you got to be home. Yeah. Right? Yeah. And then playing cops and robbers and picking up sticks and making them into guns, and I think that I just naturally leaned towards it, and my papa, he realized that. So he's like, okay, if you're going to be interested in this, I'm going to teach you the right way to do it, gun safety and all of those things. And some may say it's a little bit young. I don't know. Yeah. I'm doing that with my son now, and he's only 2 years old. Right. I have a tradition with him. Every birthday he has, he gets a new gun. So first birthday he got a .410. This year he got a .22. Just being smart about it as well. Gun safety, it's huge.
Yeah,
it's huge.
I don't think there's, like you said, safety first. I don't think there's an age restriction, especially if you've got an environment and a mentor like you did, to be able to do that. I think that, if you look at you and I when we were 16 and stuff, we weren't afraid, 17, 18, you're not afraid of much. And you've got a son now, right?
Yes, sir.
And so I had three boys that, growing up as youngsters, and my wife and I kind of always adopted the philosophy is that the more you're exposed to, the less you're curious about, the less unknown about certain situations and certain things. It's like, well, because it was always like, Dad's got guns in the house, and they're not toys, and let's go out and shoot them and learn how to use them properly, and this is what they're for. They have a role, just like your fork has a role at dinner.
It's a tool.
And it's a tool, and I think that's very important for people to understand, especially if somebody's listening to the podcast and they're thinking about, when do I get my kid into hunting, or how young and start. I think the general principle sometimes of parenting in certain situations is remove the mystique about it. hey, let's talk about this, and you have that, you're going to have that conversation as he gets older about 1,000 different subjects.
Absolutely.
So it's pretty cool that, that you're introducing him now, because then it's like, oh, yeah, I've been around these always, and I know how to use them, and probably, if he ever gets in a situation where he ever sees somebody with a gun somewhere, he's like, okay, I'm fully aware of this situation. That's dangerous.
Absolutely.
That's pretty cool.
Hunting Matters is sponsored by Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. Under the visionary leadership of founder Johnny Morris, Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's is leading North America's largest conservation movement. Together with their partners in conservation, they're positively shaping the future of the outdoors through donations, grant making, and advocacy. The 501c3 Outdoor Fund raises funds to support conservation efforts by activating more than 200 million passionate sportsmen and women, rounding up their purchases in Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's stores and online. Visit BassPro.com or Cabela's.com today.
So you grew up shooting
Yes,
first,
sir.
and then you started hunting at about what age?
16.
How did that start for you?
So I always had the burning desire, and I guess you could say a little bit of jealousy, because I didn't have the ability or the resources to go out and hunt. And you'd always hear your buddies going hunting, or my dad's ranch, I got to kill this buck, and I grew up not being able to do that, but wanting to. So whenever I turned 16, I had gotten my papa had gotten me a shotgun. I went out to Anahuac, took myself hunting out in Anahuac, because it's public land, hunting license, the whole 9 yards, and our buddies.
Yeah.
So that was the first time I actually got to go hunting, and I was hooked.
What were you hunting?
Birds, ducks. I got into duck hunting first, and that's still a passion of mine.
Yeah.
Love it.
I've always been and my mom was, if she was still alive today, she'd tell you the same thing, firm believer that hunting kept me off the streets and out of trouble.
100%.
Because we'd take the weekends. I don't know what you and your buddies did. I mean, I'd love to hear about it. But, we live, I was fortunate to live on a bayou, near a bayou. And so we spent our weekends duck hunting or gigging frogs or fishing and that sort of thing. Or sometimes there were some weekends where we'd go duck hunting the entire weekend. We'd pack our sleeping bags, get out in the blinds, and stay there whole weekend.
Absolutely. So we would, there's a place over in Humble, and we called it our lagoon, a little hidden hideaway that we had, and we would go out there and we would camp all weekend long. We would cut down some trees, we would hook up the trees to the back of our pickup trucks and go tree surfing.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. So just being outdoors.
Modern day Tom Sawyer.
I guess so. Yes, sir.
That's awesome. Let's talk a little bit about something that's a big influence in your life as well, martial arts. So when did you start taking or practicing martial arts?
At the age of 3.5.
How'd that start?
My parents were together at that time, and they just enrolled me at Henderson's Martial Arts ATA and Tiny Tigers, and I just naturally loved it, loved the discipline of it, structure, order. That helped mold me into who I am today, and actually where I am in life. I can trace back to that. I did that from the time I was 3.5 till I was about 17.
Yeah.
Third degree black belt in Taekwondo, and absolutely loved it. Traveled the country, got to meet cool people, and actually the where I am today in life at DEX Imaging is from a former instructor of mine there, Terry Hale.
Okay.
So it kind of all came full circle. Things I did as a kid now impact me in my adult life.
Yeah. Do you? I'm assuming you put those principles and the discipline that you learned not only into your personal and professional life, but also your hunting life, maybe.
Absolutely.
How kind of connect the dots there for us?
Discipline and patience. Understanding, things need to get done in order to be successful, right? And making sure that you practice.
Yeah.
If you don't practice perfectly, you're not going to have good results, right?
Right. So you travel the country and did tournaments and all that sort of thing?
Yes, sir.
I'm getting flashbacks of Joe Rogan talking about, his journey, like doing that as well.
Yes, sir.
When you got 17, what changed?
Life. Interests. At the time. Girls, yeah. At the time, I was the highest I could go for another 2 or 3 years, and I just like anything, you lose interest.
Yeah.
And I've done it for so long.
Oh yeah. It's a long time. You still enjoy watching martial arts? And
Absolutely.
I think you and I have had
Absolutely.
several conversations about UFC and MMA and stuff like that. That's awesome.
Capital Farm Credit understands that there's something about the outdoors that pulls you in. Could be the fresh air, the colors, the smells, the animals, the freedom. It's all just a part of who you are. And with our recreational land loans, you can purchase land for whatever outdoor pursuit you please. That way, the outdoors won't just be in your soul, it'll also be in your name. To learn more, visit capitalfarmcredit.com. Together, we're better.
Your very, very, very first hunt. Do you remember it?
My very first hunt.
First time you were walking out in the field with a gun.
Yep, I do. It was me, my buddy Dre Cox, my buddy Dalton Thornton, and it was actually on a school day. So we had late arrival on Thursdays, and we didn't have to be at school till 9:25. Went out there, and it was bluebird skies.
Yeah.
We didn't get to shoot anything, didn't see anything, but it was just being out there felt so real. And I was like, okay, like now I finally have the opportunity to do this. I'm hooked, I'm addicted, and we actually ended up going to school still with the war paint on our face and in our camo. And I was just like, okay, this is something I'm going to get addicted to, and I did. I actually ended up, I got my own bird dog, trained him myself. His name was Bo. Man, that dog was something. Absolutely something. He listened very well. I had him whenever I actually went up to College Station, and I would be able to tell him, Bo, wait, and I would go into class. That dog would still be sitting there after class. Yeah.
Wow.
He was amazing. Great dog. Great dog.
That's
He's
great.
since passed as well, though.
Yeah. There's those dogs get in your skin, get in your heart. They're and to have a special one like that's pretty cool. That, this is like, man, hope I have another one like that someday. Do you have a favorite hunting memory over your hunting journey that really stands out to you?
The most recent one we had.
Tell me about it.
So my wife, she never had shot a gun until she was with me, and I taught her, and I took her on her first hunting trip this past January, and we went out to the Ox Ranch. I kind of maybe messed up there a little bit, spoiled her with there, but we hunted this fallow for 2 days straight. And, whenever there's a certain animal that just sticks out to you in a crowd, he was an older buck, beautiful. And she was like, that's the one I want to be able to hunt. Never presented himself for a good shot. We chased him. We looked at other ones. And then finally, she was about ready to give up. And I kept telling her, honey, like, let's stick with it. Like, if it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen.
Right.
This is hunting. This is what it's about. It's about the emotional roller coaster, right? And finally, we had about 30 minutes left, and he presented himself. He was about 130 yards away. She hadn't shot that far. So she was a little nervous, and I remember I heard my pawpaw's voice in my head, and I told her, take a deep breath, let half of it out, squeeze that trigger, and she did. And to see the emotion that she had of seeing that animal and knowing that she did that and she accomplished something that was difficult for her. I had just shot a 37-inch axis earlier in that day.
Yeah.
I had more pride, and I felt more joy experiencing that with the one I love the most. And her experiencing it, and her now having a better understanding of what drives me and what I like to do. So it was very cool
Who do you
experience.
think was more nervous? Be truthful. Right at that moment.
She was.
She was.
Oh my goodness, she was. She was shaking like a leaf, and just because it was finally that moment. I made her shoot so many times before, leading everything up. So she was definitely more nervous.
So what's next for her?
Africa.
Really?
Yep.
You guys are going as a family, or?
Me and her are.
Yeah, okay.
So
you have a young son, right?
We were debating on bringing Hudson or not, and we ultimately decided not to. So me and her are gonna go next year, and she's already has more animals planned out than what I planned on hunting.
Yeah.
But hey, it is what it is, right?
Yep.
Hunting Matters is presented by Copandero Indoor Archery Pistol and Rifle Range, your premier indoor archery pistol and rifle shooting destination. Located in Oak Ridge North, right next to the Woodlands, Copandero offers 2 25-yard pistol ranges, a 100-yard rifle range, and a 25-yard archery range. Whether you're honing your skills or just starting, Copandero has everything you need, including rentals, classes, a retail store, an in-house cafe, and a VIP lounge. Join Copandero today for an unmatched shooting experience. To learn more, go to copandero.com.
What are you guys planning on hunting?
I'm going for sable, kudu, and a zebra are my main 3 that if I'm blessed to be able to have the opportunity to shoot them, that's what I want. She wants a water buck, a Gibbs buck, a red lechway, a blue wildebeest, and then I think there's one more that she was looking to hunt.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, I know how Africa goes.
Yes, honey.
You just never know what opportunity. They're going to present a lot of different opportunities to you. The zebra thing. When I went to Namibia last time, I was like, they're like, we have a lot of zebra and we really need to hunt zebra. And I get it. They had 2 different species there. And it wasn't a species that I was really looking to hunt until I saw them. Mm-hmm. And then it got me all fired up. And how aggressive and they're just beasts.
They are.
And so it's kind of crazy. Has zebra always been on your list, or?
It always has been. Kudu and sable being, my dream.
Right.
My dream. And then zebra, I think it's whenever you think of Africa, you think of lion, zebra, elephant, giraffe, and I think they're just beautiful animals, feisty animals too.
Yeah. What is it that? Let's talk about conservation a little bit, because I don't think we can talk about it enough. The fact that, people who hunt are probably some of the most ardent conservationists in the world out there. Talk a little bit about your viewpoints on conservation and how hunting plays a major, major role in that.
To me, conservation is preserving land for the next generation, right? So resources, if you have too big of a deer population, they're going to eat all the food. Right, and then you're going to have way too many predators, and it's all about managing the natural resources so that way the next generations and generations after that can enjoy the same things we do now.
Yeah.
I think it's huge.
Yeah. I know you've had this conversation, because we all have. How do you handle conversations with people who, and again, I always preface this conversation and this question by this comment, people that are non-hunters are different from people that are anti-hunters. Because non-hunters are not adamantly against it, they just don't do it, or maybe they don't understand it. And I've had a lot of conversations with people over the years that are non-hunters that, why do you do it? And then I talked to them about the conservation principles and the things you just mentioned, talk about overgrazing and land management, habitat management, species management, and herd management, and all those things. And like, oh, okay, yeah, I can see that. No, and sometimes they'll go, well, how do I get into it, or would you take me, and that sort of thing. If you're in a crowd, dinner party, whatever, and you get an anti-hunter conversation, I know you've had them, you had to over your life. How do you deal with that on a personal level?
I try to understand their perspective.
Yeah.
Honestly, be like, why are you against this? What makes you think that? And a lot of people think, oh, you just shoot the animal, take a picture with it, and leave it there.
Right.
No, that animal is there to feed my family. Do you eat meat?
Yep.
Do you go to the grocery store? Do you get steaks? Where do you think that comes? That animal didn't have necessarily a quality life. He was truly there to be slaughtered and serve you, as opposed to with this animal that I hunted, I had to train for it, I had to prepare for it, I had to make sure that my skill set was ready to ethically harvest this animal, and now that animal has fed me and my family. So it's truly understanding their perspective, and once you understand their perspective, you can kind of tailor the conversation around it. Right. But most of the time, it's through a lack of not understanding. Again, like, oh, you're just there to shoot, to kill a cute animal and take a picture of it and then waste it, and that's not the case at all.
Yeah, those are all very, very valid points.
Hunting Matters is presented by DEA Ranch. Are you looking for the ultimate South Texas hunting experience? Then look no further than DEA Ranch. DEA Ranch offers some of the best whitetail and exotic game hunts in South Texas year-round. Whether you're looking to fill your freezer or put that next hunting memory on the wall, their professional guides are focused on ensuring each client has a memorable and exciting hunting experience. DEA Ranch offers guided hunts, professional staff, chef-prepared meals, trophy preparation, and more. To learn more, go to dearanch.com. That's dearanch.com.
You talked about duck hunting earlier. Is that your favorite species to hunt, or has that changed over the years?
That's changed.
What's your favorite now and why?
My favorite is I would say exotic, something different.
Yeah.
So the kudus, the axis that I hunt, that was a challenging hunt, very, very challenging. Elk, I haven't went on an elk hunt, but that's on my bucket list, and to just not necessarily the species, but the challenge and what goes in with that hunt is more what I'm drawn to now.
Yeah. Ever think about taking up bow hunting?
It's funny that you mentioned that. I was just texting Kyle this morning because I am wanting to get into that.
Kyle Clark, who leads up our young professionals group.
Yep. Yeah. And then I was texting Andrew last week about it too. I think that's the next challenge for me is bow hunting, and because it's a whole different new skill set that I haven't even tapped into yet.
I'm going to make a prediction.
Okay.
With your martial arts background and the person that I know you are, the short time I've known you, you're going to get addicted to it.
I believe so.
Because if you study martial arts and you study archery and bow hunting, there's a lot of similarities there in the discipline of those sports. You know, we've all heard Rogan talk about it on his podcast, you know, the flight of the arrow and all this sort of thing. I didn't pick up a bow till I was probably in my mid to late 30s, and it's my weapon of preference now.
Why is that?
I still hunt with a rifle. I still enjoy hunting with a rifle. In some conditions, you have to, if you're sheep hunting, if you're long range hunting, you have to hunt with a rifle. But what I found was I was kind of ready for that next level, that next challenge. And to be able to be stealth enough, not only with my motion, but also my dress, my scent, and all that stuff, to be able to get close enough to animal, whether I'm sitting in a blind or I'm doing a spot and stalk. When you can do that, and then you add that, like you said, it's a lot of preparation. Mm-hmm. You have to learn how to shoot a bow. You have to learn the parts of a bow. You have to learn how to fine-tune your arrows and your bow. You have to be intimately close with the animal or quarry that you're pursuing. And, I mean, I've made shots. So I think one of my longest shots on an animal was an elk at like 60 yards, which I still to this day I'm like, that's a pretty good shot. But and there was some luck involved. But most of them were 20 to 30 yards. That's where I'm comfortable. 20, 30, maybe 40. Mm-hmm. That's typically what presents itself, and that's kind of the range I'm hunting in. But it's a discipline, and you get inside your own mind and your body and your breathing. And I think the breathing is as much or more important when you're shooting a bow as when you're shooting a rifle.
Really?
I do. I really do. And it's almost, I don't mean to be corny, but it's almost a Zen practice and a Zen moment when you get in that. Mm-hmm. And I have found myself, when it's just you in a blind or you in a spot and stalk on the bow and you're at a full draw, I can literally feel my heart pounding in my chest and in my head. And everything just goes slow motion and everything grows silent, except I hear that, when you pull back the bow.
Mm-hmm. Nobody wants to imagine an emergency on a hunting trip. But when the unexpected happens, you want the team of medical and security experts at Global Rescue to be there for you. Global Rescue Operations Centers are staffed by experienced personnel, and you'll always speak to an expert on the first call. Global Rescue provides unparalleled capabilities to transport members to the hospital of their choice, not just the closest. So trade what-ifs for peace of mind with convenient travel services designed for the unexpected. Learn more at globalrescue.com/huntingmatters.
So I love every aspect of it. So anytime I can hunt with a bow, I'm hunting with a bow. And then that turns into, I need a bow press. I need a bow. I need the arrows. And it's just, you start buying all these toys and stuff with it, and it's fun. It's fun. Then I started fletching my own arrows and that sort of thing.
Really?
Yeah, man. You sit there and you watch football and you fletch your own arrows. It's great. But I'm one of those weird guys who I like to sit on the floor. I like to throw a rug or a big blanket out on the floor and sit on the floor and clean guns. I love the smell of gun oil.
I do that as well. It drives my wife nuts, but sometimes you just got to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I just love doing it. And the bow hunting thing, I think you're gonna get really addicted to it. And it's I don't know, when you do it, I never grow tired of hunting with a bow. You just get, it's just really cool. It's really Zen-like, and after you do it, I think there's just such a sense of accomplishment to know I've done all these things. And I got to tell you, the other thing I love about it, when you travel, getting a bow is a lot easier getting it through security.
I bet.
It's a lot easier to travel with. You can throw 2 bows in a case. If you're going to Canada or Alaska or whatever, throw 2 bows in a case to have a backup, because you definitely don't want to get it stuck if, unless your outfitter has a gun and you have to move to the gun. But I had an experience one time in New Zealand. I was chasing a red stag for 4 days, and I never got a shot on one. And I went in the last night because I was supposed to go to another camp and hunt other animals. And I told the guy who owned the operation, I said, I don't think it's going to happen. He goes, do not go to the rifle. Because I didn't bring it was in New Zealand. I didn't bring a rifle. He said, I can loan you a rifle. He said, don't go to the rifle. He said, we're going to make it happen. And sure enough, the next morning hunt, I had 2 hunts left. In the morning hunt, I got it, and I got it done. And I was so glad I did. And he was like, I told you we were going to make it happen. I was like, yeah, I should have been more confident. But you'll love it. Man, you'll get into it and you'll love it. And then your son will get into it and all that sort of thing. It's amazing. Sorry, I went off on a tangent. I'm a little bit passionate about bow hunting. So I'm going to say you're a hunter and a firearms enthusiast. Mm-hmm. How do you balance that? Because I talked to you the other day, you're like, oh, I'm doing this certification, blah, blah, blah. And do you just have to find time for both? And do you mix and meld the two? Or
I think they're one and the same.
Okay.
In my opinion. I collect, and I also, it's like, okay, the way that I collect is what use can I use this firearm for, right? And I practice, and like whenever we booked our Africa trip, I bought a gun specifically fine-tuned for my wife and I to be able to use, feel comfortable with. I had other guns that I could have used, but I used it as an excuse to go get another one.
Sure.
Right. So I kind of, and while you're practicing shooting, you're also practicing for hunting.
Right.
Shot placement, breath control, making sure that you feel confident with that firearm. To me, that's the biggest thing, is being confident with what you're shooting and the way you're shooting.
Yeah. Are you guys, what caliber are you looking at?
So I built a 7 PRC for Africa.
Okay. Mm-hmm. You seem to be a pretty driven guy. I'm a planner. Mm-hmm. So if I'm planning a big hunt like that, I start packing stuff, and we have an extra bedroom, a guest bedroom. I'll start laying stuff out weeks at a time. My wife laughs at me because I'm like, especially if you're going in when you have a weight limit, I'll lay everything out, and over the next few weeks I'll go, I don't really need that. I don't have to have this. Are you the same way?
Absolutely.
Do you enjoy that part of it as much as anything?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. So we go next May, and I'm already building systems for it, laying them out, trying them on, walking around the house. It's driving Destiny nuts, but it is that's just who I am. She waits till the last minute, throw everything in a suitcase, let's go.
Yeah.
No, I've made sure I got a lighter bino harness, different binoculars, different range finders, and I'm months away. So I know whenever it gets closer, it's like, okay, lay everything out, pack it the way I want it packed, and typically my bag is packed a week before any trip.
Me too. I'm the same way. And I'm the guy who packs it, closes it, and I'm in there every day or every night going, did I get that? Or
did I forget this?
Yeah.
Did I make sure I packed that?
Exactly.
Yep.
Here's the good news about Africa. You don't have to pack a lot of clothes.
Everybody's told me that, and I know I'm still going to pack a lot of clothes.
I packed 3 changes of clothes for, I think it was a 10-day deal. And the great thing about Africa is they usually do daily service on laundry, no matter where you are. You come back and I just took that off this morning, and it's there. So that's the great thing about it. Unless you do some tourism excursions, have to bring extra clothes. But that's the one piece of advice I tell people: you don't have to pack that many clothes when you go. So that's a great thing.
In the heart of nature, give your deer the nutrition they deserve with Record Rack Deer Feeds. The premium feeds support antler growth and overall herd health. Whether you're a wildlife enthusiast or a dedicated hunter, Record Rack Deer Feeds provide essential nutrients for a thriving herd. Choose Record Rack Deer Feeds for optimal deer nutrition. Visit recordrack.com to learn more.
Are you looking for an investment that goes beyond the ordinary? Wildlife Partners is the nation's leader in breeding and consulting for the exotic wildlife industry. When you invest in wildlife, you're not just acquiring a 100% tax-deductible asset, you're playing a vital role in the conservation of endangered species. Do you own land? You can turn your ranch into a profitable wildlife-driven business. And even if you don't own land, that's no problem. Wildlife Partners offers unique opportunities for non-landowners to invest in conservation while enjoying significant tax benefits and potential cash flow.
I'll be very interested. Hopefully we can get together on this podcast and talk about, maybe have you and your wife both on.
Absolutely.
Talk about that trip, because I'm very interested to hear about your first trip through your eyes. The first time I went to Namibia and came back, I was like, I had so many stories to tell and saw so many things. You know, anytime you go somewhere new, it's so cool, because I like, you know, I'm looking at the plants, the animals, watching animal patterns and people and cultures and that sort of thing. Are you guys looking forward to doing all that as well?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And just getting the full experience, and that's why me and her just decided for us to go.
Yeah.
Right, and then aside from having a 3-year-old on a 18-hour flight, Hudson doesn't like to sit still for an hour.
Yeah.
So that would have been a challenge, but I know it's not if we'll go back. It's just a matter of when, and I know at that point in time he'll come with us.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm excited for you guys. I think you guys are going to have a great time, and I'm interested to talk to you about it when you get back. I talked to, actually, you mentioned him earlier, Kyle Clark, who leads our Stag and Dove Young Professionals group. He's getting ready to go to Russia on his bear hunt. And so I told him, I said, dude, when you come back, we got to talk about that, because I haven't done that one yet, but I've heard some good and bad stories about that. A buddy of mine went one time, and he was a retired Navy SEAL lieutenant. I forgot his rank now, it just left me. Anyway, 20 plus years in, and he came back and he said, yeah, we rolled up on the bank in this canoe, and this guy hands me this gun that looks like it hadn't been shot in 35 years, and and he said, we made it happen, but he said it was a shocker. He said
Wow.
it was a shocker.
And they're using bows for that hunt too.
Yes. Yep. That adds a whole another level. That is on my list of brown bear hunt with a bow. I've seen it done. It can be done, but I'm excited about hearing his story when he comes back. Let's shift gears a little bit. So you're a life member of the Houston Safari Club Foundation. You came in, and I'm guessing you do this with everything. When you came in full force.
Absolutely.
So you became a life member, and then you're like, how can I help? And you took over banquet table sales as the chairperson for our upcoming convention in 2026. What drew you to the organization, and what drew you to get so deeply involved with it?
We went to the very first convention was actually this past January, and
you didn't even wait a year.
Didn't even wait a year, and instantly, whenever you know something is right and something's telling you, hey, this is something you should be a part of. Maybe it's intuition, maybe it's instinct. I don't know what it is with me. I just met so many people there, so kind, fellowship. Everybody was very resourceful. I had questions, they answered, and it was just something like, okay, this is something that I wish I had known about a long time ago, because I would have been able to do a lot more things, right? So that's instantly whenever I became a member, then at the convention, and then talking with you, became a life member, and it's like, okay, I want to make a splash. I don't believe in doing anything half-butt. It's all or nothing. And I think that's another lesson from my grandpa. Like, if you're going to do something, do it right. So make a splash, get involved. And it was just something that I'm passionate about this, and I want to bring value and make a difference.
Yeah.
And I thought by doing that, being a table, I can connect with more people, learn more things, help something that I'm passionate about, conservation. And also I was able to bring my company on as a corporate sponsor as well, which I thought was amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing to be able to do.
I want to talk about that, dive into that a little bit deeper about the support of DEX Imaging and what impact they've had on Houston Safari Club Foundation. But one of the conversations I've had, I've been doing this for 11 years now with Houston Safari Club Foundation. The conversation I have constantly, almost on a weekly basis. Hey, so-and-so, you should come and become a member. I'm not from Houston. I'm not going to go on safari. I know you probably had those conversations as well. So any opportunity I get to dispel the myth. What do you tell people about this organization that makes it unique, and how do you counter that? Safari, we're not just about safaris.
I counter it by like it's a club of like-minded individuals that believe in conservation and wanting to make a difference with the youth.
Yeah.
And to me, that was huge about what we do with the youth hunts, because I was that kid in high school that wanted the ability to go hunting and learn more.
Yeah.
So it's not just people going to Africa to kill animals. That's yes, some people do that, right? But actually our core values is land conservation, giving back, mentorship, and providing resources for the next generation.
Are you looking for a smarter way to manage your document imaging and print environment? DEX Imaging delivers industry-leading printers, copiers, and fully managed print services designed to cut cost, boost productivity, and simplify your workflow. Whether you're a small business or a Fortune 500 company, DEX provides personalized local service with the power of a national network so you get fast, reliable support wherever you are. DEX gives back, proudly supporting organizations like Houston Safari Club Foundation by giving through profit sharing. DEX Imaging, smarter technology, exceptional service, proven results. Visit deximaging.com or email Adam Montgomery at adam.montgomery@deximaging.com.
Yeah, you know, that's what I tell people. They're like, well, you know, when we have that safari conversation, I'm like, I'm not a huge safari hunter. Most of the members of the organization are people who've never been on safari like you.
Right.
You know, at some point they may go on one, but a lot of the guys and the ladies too. I mean, our ladies membership has grown tremendously over the past couple of years. A lot of them, they bird hunt, they duck hunt, they squirrel hunt, they whitetail hunt. They don't really do a lot of international hunting, and that's cool to see that mix and meld. And one of the things that I always tell new members too is like, if you want to learn something about international hunting or any kind of hunting, or maybe talk to somebody who's been with an outfitter before, so you don't spend the time and money to go on a bad trip. I think that's really one of the kind of the unwritten, you know, benefits of this organization.
It's networking, and it's everybody being resources.
Yeah.
And that, I think that's a huge thing. And again, we all believe and we're all driven for the same things, right?
Yeah. So you brought your company, and you obviously I'm going to talk about another full circle moment here in a minute. So you brought your company along for the ride. DEX has graciously stepped up. They are a corporate sponsor of Houston Safari Club Foundation, as well as, you know, when you and I first talked, we're like, we want to sponsor the youth program. So you guys are the title sponsor of our youth program, which, you know, we're working on expanding that. We've hired a new person to take that on full time, and so we're expanding beyond just the youth hunting program into the classrooms and other areas. Tell the podcast audience a little bit about DEX's philosophy of service and giving back, because I think that I learned that right off the bat from you guys.
So in order to explain that, I have to start from the very beginning.
Sure, we got time.
So Dan Doyle Sr., he started Dinka International as a mom and pop shop, and he grew it to a worldwide organization and sold it for a few $1 billion.
Okay.
So he could have rode off into greener pastures, to say the least, right? Yeah. But he became a philanthropist, and his son Dan Doyle Jr. wanted Dad to get back into the business. And this was 2002, whenever they wanted to have another crack at our industry, right? Because there's a missing gap that
your industry is
copiers and printers, managed print services.
Okay.
So they wanted to have another run at it, and really leave a mark and a stamp like, hey, we were here, we did these things. So Senior told Junior, okay, I'll do this. We'll help build it up, but there's two conditions. 1/3 goes back to non-for-profit charities, and another 1/3 goes back to our non-commissioned employees. So service technicians, admin, they all have skin in the game in our organization,
right,
because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
So the philanthropy is a huge part of our organization, because also if you get people like myself involved in non-for-profit charities that have the same passion, have the same goals, mindsets as other people, naturally people want to do business with people who they like and have. So it's the right thing to do, but also it was a really good business model as well.
Yeah. I mean, I know when we first started our relationship, you're bringing people into the office and like, what can we do to help? How can we do it? And I can't say enough about how much we appreciate you guys doing that, and you personally, but I think it's a model not only of success, but of a good business practice, you know, to give back to those organizations. Everybody's got their own different passions, and there's a lot of organizations out there that need help. And I was floored, you know, about it. It's like, okay, we can do this. Okay, we can do this. We can do this. What else can we do to help? And
It's service. It's who we are as a company.
yeah, and to top all that off, you know, you were talking about full circle moments. Here's a kid whose papa taught him how to shoot when he starts at 3. Who just kind of pretty much had to throw himself out in the woods and start learning how to hunting at an older age. And now you're going to be one of our youth hunt leaders.
Absolutely.
You've gone through life support. We cleared you of your background check.
Gunworks just launched a new rifle system. It's called Index. It's sized for adventure and engineered for extremes. With barrel lengths as short as 16 inches and a folding stock that collapses to an ultra-short profile, the Gunworks Index fits nicely in a UTV, a float plane, or across the seat of your truck without sacrificing accuracy. The Index features a built-in ARCA and pick rail for use on tripod or bipod, and a night vision rail to ensure you're ready for any scenario. The Gunworks Index delivers magnum capability in the most compact chassis rifle system on the market. Visit gunworks.com to learn more.
And so you've done your basic first aid and your life support. What is it that you're most looking forward to on your first Houston Safari Club Foundation youth hunting trip?
The thing I'm looking most forward to is having a memory with a kid that's never hunted before, and taking him through those steps, the lessons that were taught to me, passing those down to the next generation.
Yeah.
And who knows, maybe that individual, that kid, 20 years from now can be teaching the lessons that I helped him taught on his first hunt. And I think that's something that's huge, and I feel like kids nowadays, they're more worried about playing video games and social media,
Right.
but it's like bringing back, hey, this is who we are as humans, and this is what is needed for the next generation. So
Yeah.
I'm really, really looking forward to it.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to get your perspective too of what you observe. Because I really, you know, we really hope you guys go out, because we have a lot of new faces involved with the youth program this year. To go out and look and say, you know, look and see what works, what doesn't work, talking to the students, finding out what they like about it, what was most impactful. I think it's always good to get feedback. I had an experience a couple of different times where we've had students out that, you know, people from difficult backgrounds, you know, broken homes, different things like that, you know, they roll in on Friday and they're very quiet, very sheltered, and I get that. You know, I've worked with a lot of these kids over the years. And then by Sunday, they seem to be different people. You know, when you have breakfast or brunch on Sunday and they're getting ready to send home, I've seen a couple of real shocking moments where they're different. They've been changed by the experience. And probably one of my favorite stories is, you know, I think you've met him, Leo Martinez, who runs DEA Ranch. We had a group down there one time, and Leo said, you know, he noticed this kid was real quiet, kind of a man-child, you know, kind of kid, you know, and he was talking to him, and he saw him sitting on the porch one day. People were eating lunch, and he was kind of off by himself, and Leo went down there, and he was talking to him, and they were sitting in the rocking chairs on the front porch, and he casual conversation, and the kid kind of leaned over. He goes, "So you do this for a living, huh?" He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "How did you get started?" And that changed that kid's life. It changed the whole weekend, but it planted a seed of, you know, I can do this for a living. And I think that's one of the really cool things about it, is that when people meet people in the outdoors that have, whether they're ranch managers, biologists, whatever, researchers, that they're like, wow, I could do this for a living, and they can find that passion there. It's kind of cool. So I'm interested to see your first time perspective off of that group to just see what happens. It'll be fun for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and it's a full circle moment.
It really is, and it's making a difference.
Yeah. Yeah. So you've been in sales off and on throughout your career. Yeah, I think you sold cars early and.
Oh yeah. So actually, that's another full circle moment too. So I got into it whenever I was 20 years old. I was actually homeless at the time, living out of my truck, and my best friend's sister kind of got wind of it. So everything I had was already in my truck, and I moved to Virginia.
Wow. And
I had $5 to my name. Whenever I got to Virginia, she was like, "Okay, Adam, this is kind of a fresh start for you. What do you want to do?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Well, I've been in construction and I can barely hang a shelf on a wall, so I don't think I want to do that anymore. I like cars and I like talking to people." She was like, "Okay, there's a car dealership right down the road." I was like, "Okay, but I don't have nice clothes, Madison." So she let me borrow her husband's clothes actually for the first 3 months of me working. Yeah. Of me working at the car dealership, and I was instantly successful there, loved it. Came back home to Texas, was still in the car business, then COVID-19 happened. Mm-hmm. People weren't coming in to buy cars, so I left that business and I actually started my own mobile detailing business. And going around Houston during COVID and cleaning cars. Mm. And that was great. Then I got the opportunity from Terry Hale, who was my Taekwondo instructor back whenever I was a kid. And he was starting up the DEX Imaging branch here in Houston, and he knew who I was, and I looked at him as a father figure, right? And he knew I was a very good salesperson, and he wanted me to help kick off DEX for Houston. So I was one of the very first employees for DEX Houston, and didn't think much about being in the copier and printer business. Never in a million years would I had forecasted my life to be that. But I knew that this company was here to make a difference. Their philosophy, their philanthropy, I trusted Terry. And I knew that I could also, being a part of this organization, and be so much more than selling copiers and printers. It would be bringing value and making a difference. And that's kind of been my whole entire life motto. Yeah. Is I want to bring value to people, and I want to make a difference. So that's how I transitioned in with DEX Imaging, and that was roughly about 5 years ago now. And this organization has changed my life. Mm. From leadership down, they empower us to go out and do things. We're able to make differences within organizations and how they do business. So it's seeing that there's problems and creating solutions. Yeah. As Ron Hale often says, is create the problem, we'll figure out a solution. Yeah. So I love it. I love it. I love everything about the sales aspect as well.
Now that you've got a fledgling family, you've got, I don't know, how do you balance the job, the family, and your involvement with the organization with Houston Safari Club?
Yes.
Yes.
My wife is awesome. Yeah. So everything we live in, we die by a calendar. Yeah. Right. So everything's scheduled, and where she needs to pick up Hudson, I help her, or I need to pick up Hudson, and just doing all things. And then also we do a lot of things together, yeah. which is huge for me too.
Yeah.
The Houston Safari Club Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that supports the future of hunting and conservation. Wildlife and habitat conservation, youth education and outdoor experiences, scholarships, and anti-poaching efforts are just a few of the programs supported by this organization. Monthly events, an annual convention, award-winning publications, networking opportunities, and valuable resources for hunting knowledge are just a few of the benefits of being a member of Houston Safari Club Foundation. If you're searching for a group of people dedicated to protecting the future of hunting, look no further. Join Houston Safari Club Foundation today at wehuntwegive.org or call 713-623-8844.
Yeah, when my wife and I were young and both starting our careers and both working, we had to balance our calendar where, okay, you're going to be out of town this week, I've got to go to here this week, and we did it, and I don't know how we did it with three boys. When we had two, we were fine. We pretty much managed it. When we got to three, we were outnumbered. But you figure it out.
Absolutely.
You figure it out. So obviously your son and your wife are very, very important to you. They're the base of your existence.
Absolutely. They're my reason why.
Yeah. How does being a husband and father influence the way that you approach, if any, hunting, community involvement, and all those sorts of things? Has your lens changed after you got married and started having a family?
Oh, absolutely.
How so?
It has. Growing up, I wanted to be nothing like my dad. Mm-hmm. I want Hudson to follow in my footsteps. Yeah. But I also want to set the bar so high for him. He has somebody to look up to. Mm-hmm. And by doing that, if he's able to surpass me, then my goal as a father is accomplished.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you always want your kids to do better than you did. Mm-hmm. It's a pretty cool thing to watch them grow, and they become their own people.
Absolutely.
It's pretty cool to watch it. Obviously, a lot of values were instilled in you by your grandfather. So what values do you hope to pass on to your son, both in the outdoors and everyday life?
Compassion.
Compassion.
You have to be compassionate. You have to have passion. You also have to have compassion. And I think that that is huge in service and giving back. Because if you're able to do those things, then you're able to make a real difference. And I think that's what we're all put on this earth to do is in our own little way, make a difference and make the world a better place than what we found it.
Yeah. Do you think that, do you think your son's going to get hooked on hunting just like you did?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We're
Obviously, you've gotten your wife into it.
Yes, we're already going around the house shooting taxidermy.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
Cool.
So he I think he is too, and I think, and if he doesn't, then that's perfectly fine too.
Yeah.
Right? But if you kind of like how I did with my wife, she grew up not doing any of those things, but just through influence and a little bit of information here, a little bit of doing this there, I think naturally the odds of it are pretty good for him to be able to want to do it and ultimately do it.
Yeah. Do you have a dream hunt that's like, this is the one I actually have to do before I leave this planet?
An elk hunt.
Elk hunt.
Elk hunt. And now that you mentioned the bow, I think I want to add that caliber to it, is do an elk hunt with a bow.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how I got my elk, with a bow. I went one year, and it just didn't come together. And I came home, and I pouted. I was like a 6-year-old pouting, and my wife's like, you got to go back and get this out of your system. And I went back the next year, and I was able to get an elk with a bow. And it's, wow. I still get chills, thinking about it. We had our first year, not the second year we got one, but the first year, it was my first time to elk hunt, and I was doing it with a bow. And the outfitter and I, he was calling, and we were going on this muddy road. It had been raining all morning. It was cold. And we were going around this muddy road, and it had like an embankment up, and he called, and this bull came running in. And it happened so fast, and we didn't know he was right there. He grabbed me and threw me in the mud on the ground. And he's like laying from my waist down on top of me. I got my bow trying to keep it out of the mud, and I'm laying there, and we're just laying down there, and we just froze. And I looked up, and there was that bull over us, and you could see the saliva just dripping out of his mouth, and we couldn't move. And he just bugled right above us.
Wow.
And we just sat there in the mud, and we couldn't move, and I'll never forget that moment.
Do you think some of your best memories come from hunting?
Yeah, absolutely. When I got married, when my kids were born, hunting, that order. I think hunting is probably, I have a public life. I do things, with fundraising and with the organization, that sort of thing. I don't think I'm ever more introspective or calm than when I'm sitting in the woods by myself. And even if I don't see anything, I'm one of those guys that goes to the deer lease, and I'll get up in the morning and go and maybe run in and grab a sandwich and go right back out, or pack a lunch. Unless my favorite team's playing football that day, college football, go Tigers. But I love it. It's just been part of me.
Do you feel like it just brings so much peace?
It does. It brings peace. I get unplugged.
I think for us and high driven individuals, sometimes you just got to.
Yeah. I remember when I went with some buddies the first time I did Alaska, we came back and we had power only a few hours a day. We had a generator where we could charge stuff if we needed to. But basically, we stayed in the cabin. It wasn't in a tent. But we didn't have any electricity, didn't have any communication with the outside world for about 7 days. And when we flew back in, we took a red eye into Chicago. And as the Chicago airport woke up, we were already sitting there at 3 a.m. or midnight or whatever. We slept in the airport. And as that airport came to life, I looked at him and he looked at me. I went, "Is your skin vibrating?" He said, "Yeah." Because we hadn't been around all that. But you could feel, I'm like, oh, man, I guess we're back to it. But, yeah, it's one of my favorite places to be. Out in the wilderness, anywhere. I'd pick it any day over anything.
Absolutely.
I just love it. One of the things I do want to share before we get, and then I have a final question for you. You guys have also stepped up again by doing an incentive program for our organization. Tell the people listening about that.
So the incentive program is something that Ron and I helped put together as just another way to give back, right? Because everybody at some point in time throughout the day or the week comes in contact with the technology we sell, right? And we do so much more than just copiers and printers. We try to take a different perspective and actually see how that document flows through organizations. And that's where we bring the real value. So if we know that they're doing business with somebody, if we're like-minded individuals that believe in conservation and have the same passions, again, people buy who they like, who they want to do business with and who they like.
Right.
why not have an incentive to do business with us? Because we believe we are the best in the industry. So in doing so, every sale that comes from a Houston Safari Club member or somebody that is a part of the organization, we give back 5% to the club.
Yeah. Yeah. And you guys have already cut us a check.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so are you good with me giving out your email?
100%.
All right. You can reach Adam at adam.montgomery, that's Montgomery, at DEX, DEXimaging.com. You can learn about DEX on their website at DEXimaging.com. If you want to learn more about the incentive program or talk to Adam or call him up and say, hey, I want to buy a banquet to the annual convention coming up next year.
Please do.
Banquet table or a seat. You can reach out to Adam or reach out to Houston Safari Club, and we'll put you in contact with him. It's going to be, I'm excited. Are you excited?
I'm fired up.
It's going to be a great event.
I think it is, and just the meetings that we've had, there's so much buzz already around it, and I think it's going to be one of the best ones here.
Yeah, I'm excited, and we've already sold out on booths, so our exhibitor spaces are all filled up. But banquet tickets are for sale, expo tickets are on sale as well. Let's kind of wrap this up here. Looking back at your journey, and it's been pretty amazing. I definitely think you need to write a book at some point about your life. From your grandfather teaching you how to shoot to becoming a member of Houston Safari Club Foundation, what advice would you give someone who is just starting their hunting journey?
Get involved. Get involved. Learn. Find a resource. Find somebody that's passionate about it, and be a sponge. So whatever they say, take the good, the bad, the ugly, try it, see if it works as long as it's safe. But ultimately be a sponge and just learn.
Yeah.
And do. And like 16-year-old me, looking back, I wish I would have asked more questions.
Yeah. But now you can.
And now I do. Yep. Yep.
Awesome. Adam, thanks so much for your time. We appreciate
you.
it, folks. Adam Montgomery. We will talk to you guys next week, and thank you for joining us for another episode of Hunting Matters brought to you by the Houston Safari Club Foundation. We'll see you next week. Hunting Matters is a Houston Safari Club Foundation production. Please rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. For questions or more information, email us at info@wehuntwegive.org.